Well, the Wisconsin Badgers are playing host to the Alabama Crimson Tide, which gives Big Ten fans something that they had hoped for, an SEC team coming up north, right? Specifically, Alabama coming up north. But they're, of course, asking for it in December, and you might get that this year. But we'll take this for now. You get this rocking environment, this jump around that Alabama's going to have to play against. But keep in mind when you talk about this game, that this is not the toughest environment that Alabama will experience this year and has experienced in the last couple of years. See, this Wisconsin environment, I think gets a lot of misconceptions because of how cool jump around is. This is not an intimidating environment for the road team. But what makes it strange for Alabama is having to travel so far. I cannot recall the last time that Alabama had to go to another college campus that was this far from home. You know, maybe some of you guys are going to be able to say like, oh, Texas A&M is almost as far away. Whatever. It doesn't feel like home. The culture is completely different up there. How is Alabama going to be able to handle this little travel up north? But let's talk about what's going to happen on the football field here. First off, Alabama's offensive line struggled a little bit of shuffling around with the injury to Caden Proctor and Tyler Booker having to kick to a different position. You had Elijah Pritchett banged up and also playing banged up, and him not being really all that good anyway. For an offensive line, though, that had high expectations, and they're still pretty solid, they have been a disappointment, specifically going back to last week against USF. But the explosive plays have not been a disappointment. You get big plays out of Ryan Williams and Jam Miller and Justice Haynes and Jalen Milroe making plays, Kendrick Law making plays. They have guys that are weapons that they can use in the skill positions. And Kalen DeBoer does a great job of setting those guys up for success. So Wisconsin is going to be tasked with using what they have in the secondary, headlined by Ricardo Holman, and being able to contain that explosive play for Alabama, because what USF showed us is that Alabama may have a hard time this year sustaining long drives on offense. On the flip side, when Wisconsin's on offense, you got to get through your mind that this is not a traditional air raid. This is a traditional balanced pro-style offense that uses air raid passing concepts instead, or I should say pro-style spread, right? They're going to run the ball a good bit. They're going to use gap schemes. This isn't all just zone read and RPO, though Phil Longo uses a ton of RPO as well, might I add. But they're going to do a bunch of different things. They're super multiple on the offensive side of the ball. Again, Phil Longo is the guy that was behind 2 1,000-yard rushers in the same season with Javonte Williams and Michael Carter at North Carolina. He wants to run the ball. Why wouldn't you want to lean on that offensive line, Ches Malusi, Jackson Aker, and the rest of the guys? But they do have receivers now. Don't get it twisted. Will Pauling, Trench Kekahuna, they're really good players. Bryson Green, really good player. CJ Williams, solid player. Where Wisconsin's going to abandon that part of things potentially is I don't know how much Phil Longo and Luke Fickell trust their quarterback Tyler Van Dyke right now. When I watch him play, it's a lot of short stuff. Take what the defense gives you. And even when they, what seems like when they're handcuffing him, and maybe they're just being basic because they know they're going to be able to beat Western Michigan that way and South Dakota that way. But he's still making mistakes that were turnover-worthy throws, even if they didn't end in turnovers. In the first half alone, he had 2 or 3 near interceptions against Western Michigan. That cannot happen against Alabama. I want their cornerback room to get tested a little bit better than what USF and Western Kentucky could bring to the table, just to be very clear. But I also think that they're not going to get a test if Tyler Van Dyke is reckless with that football on Saturday. I really like Wisconsin to keep it close in this ball game. I think their defense is going to make it hard on Alabama. But I just don't think Tyler Van Dyke's going to have enough plays up his sleeve. I'm going with the Alabama Crimson Tide to pull it off 31-17, but don't be surprised if this game is close in that fourth quarter, because Wisconsin, their roster is better than what most people realize. And I don't want you guys to sleep on that. If Tyler Van Dyke has one of the better games of his career, if not the best game of his career, I'm even going to say it, Wisconsin's going to win the ball game. But that's a big if and something we have not seen since 2021 with Tyler Van Dyke. Well, guess we're going to have to see something that we are not accustomed to from Mr. TVD in that red.